I'll tell you what I'm doing. So this weekend, what I'm doing is I'm doing a weekend variation of what I call the Blacksmith Challenge, making all my own tools from scratch, using just a hammer, the anvil, the forge, and a wire brush and a file. Everything else, the tools that I need, I'm going to be making. And so the very first tool that I make, I call a punch chisel tool, and this is it right here. And I make this by starting out with just the square, and I make one end and then cool it and flip it around and make the other end and cool it, and now I've got a tool that I can punch holes in hot metal and I can cut it. Here's a little example of how I would use that to punch those holes in that and then cut that, and then I would take it and stack it and put a rivet in, and that's the process of making a connection point for a pair of tongs. So that's what I'm working on. I've got my tool. I've started making this pair of tongs here. And as far as I've gone is I've got one handle all the way drawn out like you see, and then this other handle I'm just starting to work on. It's still square. So I'll put it on the anvil and I'll start squashing it quite a lot to make it thin like I need to be for the handle. And it needs to be quite hot for me to do this, so I've already lost enough heat that I'm going to heat it again. But you can see how that part is starting to look like this part. And they'll both look the same before I cut them apart and make them into tongs like that. And so this will be my first pair of tongs to use. And once I've got it, then I can make other tools that are short and they need the tongs to do it. For instance, this is a Hardy. This tool right here is called a Hardy, and it's made out of a piece of hard metal, a piece of leaf spring, and it needs to fit in the Hardy hole. And so I'll need tongs when I make that. And this one I made on an earlier time, and it was made just out of a piece of this leaf spring from a vehicle. Just a piece of that I took off and made it into the tool that I need. And so that's what I'll be doing again, but I need the tongs to hold it. So I'm working on the tongs. Also, this blacksmith challenge, so today I'm going to make blacksmithing tools, tomorrow I'm going to make basic woodworking tools, and then on Sunday I'm going to try and make a small box about like that to hold the tools that I've made. When I'm done with that for the weekend, if I get that far, I'll keep that toolbox here, and whenever I'm demonstrating or teaching classes, we'll use those tools to do the class. You know, when I first started making my own tools, I thought, oh man, you can't work a couple hours to make a pair of tongs. You can buy a pair of tongs, you know, and you're wasting your effort or whatever. But the thing is, once you've made them, they last a lifetime. So, you know, taking a whole day to make a tool really is nothing in a lifetime of use. Come on back and check in and see how I'm doing.
I'll be here tomorrow.
I'll have every stage better as you come through. So come back anytime.